फुले अंबेडकर कांचीराम
फुले अंबेडकर कांचीराम
जय 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 जय
फुले अंबेडकर कांचीराम
जय 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 जय
जोहार डॉक्टर बी.आर. अंबेडकर
जोहार जोहार
जोहार रोहित वेमुला
जोहार
Thank you, sir. For many of us here, Professor Kancha Ilaiah Shepherd truly needs no introduction. Yet, I'll take the privilege of this opportunity to introduce the speaker who needs no introduction. Professor Ilaiah was born in 1952 in the village of Papayapet in Warangal district in Telangana state. He comes from a community traditionally involved in sheep and goat rearing. Ilaiah was inspired by his own mother, Kancha Kattamma, as she was at the forefront of Shepherd's struggle against the forest guards' discriminatory behavior. For his MPhil, he studied land reforms in undivided Andhra Pradesh. For his PhD, he studied the political aspect of Buddha's thought, which culminated in his famous book, God as Political Philosopher, Buddha's Challenge to Brahminism. His books, Why I Am Not a Hindu, a Shudra critique of Hindutva philosophy, culture, and political economy, Buffalo Nationalism, a critique of spiritual fascism, Post-Hindu India, a discourse in Dalit Bahujan's socio-spiritual and scientific revolution, Turning the Pot, Tilling the Land, Dignity of Labor in Our Times, rattled the Indian academic space and inspired whole generations of students who are entering the academic space for the first time. Decades after being published, the books still create anger and anxiety among the caste Hindu populace, especially since Modi's ascent to power. Hindutva goons continuously targeted Professor Kancha Ilaiah and demanded that his books be not taught in university spaces. It only pointed Dalit Bahujan students who had not yet fallen into the professor's spell to read him more diligently. Against his accurate criticisms of the lack of contributions from the Brahmin community towards production process in this country, militant Brahmin associations that had flowered throughout the country post Modi's victory protested against him and threatened him at his workplace. Never to be defensive, Professor Ilaiah added his community's contribution to production process to his own name. He explained his rationale thus in a poem he wrote, O Brahmins of Bharat and the world, you want to crucify me knowing that I can't resurrect, as I am not Jesus Christ. But I will follow that star as I am an Indian shepherd. I will not destroy your temples, but I will destroy all our shackles. As I follow the God of equality, good you tell all lies about me. You abuse me as Ailigadu. I do not abuse the abuser, but lay down my life for the abused. I turn my inside out. I am now Ilaiah Shepherd, Kancha Ilaiah Shepherd. It is a privilege and honor to welcome Professor Ilaiah sir to the campus. I request him to deliver his address.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Friends, all of you are students of this university, and as Gopi was telling me that most of you are newly registered here for your higher education. And you all know that during the corona pandemic, nothing of the public activity could take place all over the country, all over the world. And most of the meetings were online, Zoom, Sky line meetings. I'm glad after almost 4 years, I think, I'm back to the martyrdom place of Rohit Vemula, the place of struggle, a place called Velivada, and a place which has created a revolutionary upsurge in all the universities across the country and also in many foreign universities. I'm glad once again we are meeting here, and I would once again thank the Ambedkar Student Association, who has played very critical role for quite long time in this university. Now friends, all of you are young students who keep dreaming your future, and the future of yours is linked up to your families, your surroundings, and finally to the nation. Now, as students who have just joined a central university like Hyderabad University and who keep dreaming a bright new life and future, I would briefly touch upon what is the present situation of the higher education, and particularly in the context of the new education policy that the present regime documented, declared for implementation, and also the policies that the present regime wants to follow both at the schools and higher education level. What are the possible positive things of it, and what are the major contradictions and negative things that the higher education is going to face? Now, one of the problems right now is the UGC recently changed the entrance structures, right? All of you have to write a centralized entrance, and the old model of university autonomous entrance structure does not exist. Now, this pan-Indian postgraduate entrance structure, how many of you are in the post-graduation? Can you raise hands? Okay. How many of you are in the graduation for the continuous studies? Graduation? So most of you are postgraduates, right? So there are few. Now, one major problem with the centralized one entrance test is that the syllabus formation for entrance creates a problem of uniformity and the differentiation that was available within each university pattern. The autonomy structure of the universities where its own syllabus for entrance formation is done away with. Now, at one level, okay, it is good for if it is based on some kind of an all India entrance level graduation syllabus formation. But it has one major difficulty. The difficulty is India as a country does not have English medium and one school syllabus across the nation. There are many regional language educated youth who learn within their own states non-national level, regional level syllabus at the graduation. Each one of your subjects. Now, in other words, the present entrance gives scope for NCRT syllabus students or other central syllabus English medium students. Okay, at one level it is good because I have been campaigning for English medium for all across the country, tribal regions, village level schools, and gradually overcome the linguistic barriers between states and states, and let India become an English speaking nation 25 to 30 years from now onwards. How many of you are okay with this? You don't want everybody to speak English and know English, become an English speaking citizen in this country? You don't want?
We want.
You don't want?
We want.
Yeah, but then you are not raising hands.
Please raise your hands.
How many of you want all children should study in English medium with the same syllabus across the nation? How many of you want? How many of you can't really understand at this stage, maybe in the beginning stage, an English lecture? Are there anybody who can't understand so that I can compensate with Hindi? No need, right? Okay. Now, here is a problem. The present central government at the top level, at the Ministry of Education, Home Ministry, says that even in the central universities, the teaching should take place in regional language, and more particularly Hindi. How many of you agree with that? You want Hindi medium in the Hyderabad University? All subjects?
No.
No, why don't you say no? Are you afraid? No. And then why don't you raise hands? How do we know? How many of you are willing to study in Hindi medium in central universities? No? Now, how many of you want only an English and English alone? So, as if you have not eaten at all. How many of you are from Northeast states? Yeah. And how many of you are from Kashmir? No Kashmir? I'm surprised.
Very few.
Okay. Now the question is, if Hindi or regional language becomes the central university teaching language, the danger is that those who study in such regional languages cannot aspire for a good job in the country and go out of the country and live in the world where possibilities are there. This is one. The second one is the syllabus structure in languages, in social sciences. There is a view that how many of you are from social science background? Can you raise hands? Yeah. How many of you are from science? Basic science, or you don't have engineering here, right? Only science. So there are more social science students. Now, as of today, The social science teaching has two components. One, the international component. You start studying social thought, political thought, economic thought from the European American scholars, more European, right? Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Hobbes, Locke. In economics, you study Adam Smith, David Ricardo, right? And the present government thinks that we should mainly study Indian literature from Indian sources, more so from the ancient Sanskrit sources. Now, can you name two outstanding thinkers from ancient India who could be called thinkers proper?
Romila Thapar.
Huh?
Romila Thapar.
No, ancient India I am saying. Romila Thapar is a historian, right? So, ancient India. Now, whom do you name from ancient Europe as proper thinkers? Whom do you name? Plato, Aristotle, right? You name Plato, Aristotle. But from India, whom do you name?
One is Buddha.
Kautilya is one. Tiruvalluvar from Tamil Nadu, right? Yeah. How many of you read Kautilya's Arthashastra? His book is, do you know the book's name that Kautilya wrote? No, you answer. I'm not your classroom teacher. If you ask questions or if you raise hands, if you challenge me to give you less marks. I'm not your classroom professor here. I don't have marks in my hands, nor I will do that. But tell me, how many of you earlier heard that Kautilya was a thinker, ancient thinker, and he wrote some book? How many of you know the title of the book? Now, when you raise hands, don't raise as if you have not eaten lunch. Raise fully. Okay, you know that Kautilya wrote Arthashastra. But is there actually economics in it? There is political and economics. So it is a political economy book, right? Is it political economy? Now, actually, who should be the greatest political, social, and ideological thinker that we should name from India? Who has an international recognition from India?
Ancient times.
Huh?
Sir, ancient time, Buddha.
Who said Buddha? Did you read anything about Buddha?
Yes, sir.
Is not Buddha right?
Right, sir.
Now suppose
Right,
if
sir.
there is a question in your entrance or some other examination, who is the most known thinker from ancient India across the world from India?
Gautam
So whom do you tick? Whom do you put?
Gautam
Buddha.
Buddha.
Gautam Buddha. But Buddha is not taught in the universities. Buddha is not there in the syllabus. Right? How many of you are from political science here? Yeah, just go and see political thinkers whom they teach. There is no Buddha in your syllabus. So the first question you have to ask is, why Buddha is not there in the syllabus. Now they say Kautilya is a thinker. You have to study Kautilya. Or they are also saying maybe you have to study Vedic books or Ramayana, Mahabharata as thought and books. But the question is, how much political thought is there in these books to study and to acquire knowledge, irrespective of your region, gender, class, caste, is the question. So one problem that you are going to face as this generation is whether you will have to learn the universal knowledge or whether you will have to learn the only national knowledge. They are saying we have a nationalism, therefore only national knowledge. But the question is, what are the books available to learn on the national knowledge? Okay, they talk about, let us say, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, or Ramayana, Mahabharata, or as a philosophical text. Tomorrow somebody says that you must read Bhagavad Gita as a philosophical book. I have no problem. We should read. But tell me, as students in your post-graduation level, how many of you saw Bhagavad Gita as a book taking into your hands? I am asking a very simple question. How many of you saw the book taking into your hands Bhagavad Gita as a book? How many of you saw it? Not even 3-4. How come that you have not seen the book? Then how many of you read it? You have not read? And in meeting, how many of you read it? Now this is a problem. One problem is India is a country of non-reading. We don't believe in reading. As students, we were not asked to read. And now, how many hours you read a day? As students of PG, how many hours you read a day? 8 hours? Is it true? Now, are you reading at least some hours to learn, or are you reading to sleep? Book is a good sleeping pill, right? No, this doesn't work. I'm telling you, whatever the syllabus teaches, you have to read, and read. So therefore, what was Ambedkar's slogan for Indian nation at that time?
Educate,
What was the slogan of Ambedkar?
Educate, agitate, organize.
Educate,
Agitate.
no, educate,
Agitate.
organize and agitate. See, how do you do the agitation first? Educate, organize and agitate. Now, how many of you read any book of Ambedkar? Is it Annihilation of Caste?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad many of you read. How many of you read Gandhi's Hindu Swaraj? Very few. But you read Ambedkar's Annihilation of Caste. Today I am telling you, I am extremely happy. Because few years back, if I were to ask this, nobody would have read Ambedkar's Annihilation of Caste. You have not even seen Bhagavad Gita, but you have read Ambedkar's Annihilation of Caste. This is good. But to understand Ambedkar fully, you have to read Bhagavad Gita also. Right? What is there in Bhagavad Gita? What philosophy was formulated? Or you have to read Kautilya also. But you have to read Gautam Buddha compulsory. Why did Ambedkar like Gautam Buddha but not, let us say, any other figure in ancient India? Why did he like and love and finally became a Buddhist by himself? Did he become a Buddhist?
Yeah.
In which year?
1956.
Yeah, 1956. So why did he like Gautam Buddha?
Equality.
Liberty.
No. Equality? A freedom?
Fraternity.
Or he was a big hero and going and hitting like Shah Rukh Khan today in Pathan. All enemies around. Or there is another hero called Chiranjeevi in Telugu. One hero hits 100 people at one time. Did Gautam Buddha do that? No. What did Gautam Buddha teach?
Work on yourself.
No. What was the major slogan? The major slogan of Buddha was Bahujan Hitaya Bahujan Sukha.
Sukhaya.
What is Bahujan? What do you mean by Bahujan?
Majority population.
Yeah,
of the country.
majority. At that time, there was a Brahmin slogan called Brahman Hitaya Brahmin Sukha. Only Brahmins are seen as the God's people. They are equivalent to gods. Their hit and their sukh were more important. Then Buddha said, Bahujan Hitaya Bahujan Sukha. Therefore, Ambedkar became Buddhist. Right? Now the question is, if Buddha is not taught in the classroom, what is that you have to do? Now, how many of you can afford to buy a book by spending 450 rupees for your reading? Can you raise hands? How many of you can? Yeah. In order to understand Buddha's political philosophy and his ideology, his understanding of his concept of democracy, his concept of Sangha, you must buy, I am trying to be selfish here, my own book called God as Political Philosophy. Because there is no other book on Buddha's political philosophy. When I wrote that book as my PhD thesis, my professors called me, this fellow is mad. Of all the things he wants to prove that Gautam Buddha is a political philosopher. He was not. I said, I am really mad and I will make Buddha also mad. And they said, you will not get your degree. All political scientists said that you cannot get your degree. I said, doesn't matter. If I don't get my degree, I'll publish it as a book or print myself by begging and borrowing and go and sell on the roads. But it is one of the best sellers now. You can see on Google. Just go to Google and see on Amazon. So the question is, yes, we will have to read India. But there is no thought in what this present education ministry is telling us to read. Thought is something, economics is something. See, what is economics? What is political science? What is sociology? What is philosophy? Do you think that all our villagers are philosophers or fools? Those who produce food by tilling the land. How many of you saw tilling the land in the villages? Did anyone of you till the land? Did you go to crops, fields? Yeah. So, is there a philosophy in tilling the land or not? Or only philosophy in the Department of Philosophy in Hyderabad? Is there a philosophy in tilling the land or not?
Yeah,
Yeah?
there is.
Now you are, don't be silenced from tomorrow on. You have to speak out. If you don't say, no, there is no philosophy, I don't agree with you, you say that. Then we can argue and then whether philosophy is there or not. There is no human being without philosophy who can survive. Right? Every tiller, every mother, is there philosophy in cooking food in the kitchen or not? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Is there a scientific method in cooking or not?
Yeah.
Is it? So, or is there science only in the science laboratory here? If there is no science in kitchen, we would not have survived at all. We would have died. If our mothers were or our other cooking people were not cooking with scientific manner. After all, any orderly work, any systematic form of work with material is a science. So kitchen is a science, tilling the land is a science, cutting the crop is a science, making shoe is a science, making pot is a science, but not reading mantra. Mantra is not science. Mantra is Maya. Therefore, Buddha said, you have to till the land and survive, not by mantra. Can you produce food from mantra, by mantra? Om bhurvos vadat savidam. Come, food. Does food come? So those who eat without respecting production, food production, are anti-people. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Those who eat without respecting production and without involving also in production. So what is nationalism? Who are better nationalists? The farmers are the greatest nationalists in the world, in the country. The labor is the greatest national. Those who are building. You know, the other day, accidentally, I was watching this Mahabharat story on TV. Pandavas, Kauravas were living in big palaces in Mahabharata time. Pandavas and Kauravas they were said to be Kshatriyas, right? They were relatives. They were living in palaces. Who built the palaces? Did they build? And all of them have had very clean shaven faces, beautifully colored, painted. Who shaved them? Did they shave themselves with American blade? Or the Indian Adani manufactured blade? No. If they were human beings at that time, if they were shaven by the barber scientists. Right? Is barbering science or not? You have no idea.
Yeah.
Barbers are the earliest doctors in the world. What is shaving? Now I'll ask you a very simple question. You know, 3 days back, just 3 days back, I saw a news item. On Valentine's Day, boys and girls should not embrace each other, but all people should embrace cows. I thought if all people embrace cows in the same sense that boys and girls are men and women embrace, what generations will come into the land? And the animal husbandry ministry had the animal husbandry ministry has shown some examples of embracing cow. And that cow was white cow. And embracing man, I should not describe. But I was thinking, okay, why the national ministry, India's Government of India Ministry of Animal Husbandry or Animal System Economy, why were they asking even to love animals okay? For, if not for procreation purpose, let us assume that productive purpose. But why not they were saying, you embrace buffalo? Now, if we should love animals, now why should we love cows so much to embrace it on Valentine's Day? So we are loving it so much. Okay, assuming that now Indian system wants to shift all man-woman relations, they want to shift all women into goddesses now. And not as wife and husband, not as friends and so on. Like cow as goddess. But why you only cow goddess, why not buffalo should be a goddess? Which animal gives more milk in India?
Buffalo.
Now, if usefulness is the thing, then buffalo should be embraced. More milk. But why not buffalo? Because buffalo is a black animal. We should not embrace black. We should embrace always white. Now, I agree with this philosophy. Even in the university classrooms, great professors educated in Oxford, Harvard, Cambridge, come and say that all gods live in the stomach of cow. Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard. And they come here because there is an all-around sentiment. Better to appeal to the sentiment than to the science. Though you are an Oxford graduate, then all gods live in the... One day I asked one professor, sir, why not all gods live in buffalo stomach? No. Then I said, sir, gods drink buffalo milk only. Is it true? Because generally our professors don't verify, but they only read somebody's book and tell us. That is what professorship is in India. It is not a critical mind. Because professors never, by 1990, no political science professor in India read Ambedkar. Because they were told, Ambedkar? No, he is not a thinker or anything. He is some kind of an untouchable. So therefore you should not read. Whom should you read? You must read Gandhi. So they read Gandhi. I have no problem, I read Gandhi. But the point is, you must understand, If buffalo is black, we should not embrace that thing. Now, why do you love black animal on your hair on your head? Why all intellectuals, when hair become white, why do they paint black? Black hair should. So I was asking one fellow, suppose you have a daughter, very beautiful. Like now the Pathan film heroine is all over the world. Who is that?
Deepika.
Deepika Padukone. Like, her beauty. At the age of 25, she has a white hair on her head. Can she get married in India? Can she? White hair is not beauty. White hair is not beauty on your head, but it is cow color, it is beautiful. What an unscientific thinking. So India is full of unscientific thinking about animals, about humans, about life, about production, about food. So as students, for future, you have to turn Indian knowledge into upside down. How many of you heard Karl Marx's name? All of you heard, right? What did he say about the philosophers before him? Karl Marx said, before me, all philosophers made the knowledge or the philosophy to walk on its head, not on legs. Human being has to walk on legs, right? If human being walks on head, what happens? Upside down. Then finish. So you have to now, the knowledge system in the universities is upside down. It is walking on the head. You have to put it back on the legs. So if you want to study Indian thought, start with Gautam. You can read Kautilya Nota, or you can read MANUU. But without reading Gautam Buddha, reading others is going to destroy our social fabric and system. Therefore, our universities must reset their syllabus, and at the same time you have to read the world. You have to read Plato, you have to read Aristotle, because we have not produced Galileos. We have not produced Copernicus. We have not produced White brothers to prepare an aeroplane. They said there was Pushpaka Vimana in our books earlier. But it is not taking anybody anywhere in Pushpaka Vimana now. So the question today for all of you as students in the universities is that you have to, like your parents who were doing, if their agriculture is tilling the land, looking after the cattle from morning to evening, read, read and read. So therefore my slogan now, from Ambedkar to now, there is slight change. You are educated, you are graduates. So the slogan is read, write and fight. Read, write and fight. So you are all in post-graduation. Did any one of you wrote anything, an article or a story or a small book, anything in life so far on your own? You wrote something in English or another language? English. What did you write?
Wrote a critique of Akhilesh Yadav celebrating Parshuram Day.
Okay. Now what I will ask you is, in the next 1 month, can you all write in whatever form you can, whatever language you can, whatever methodology you can you write the history of your families? Can you do that? Did you ever think of writing the history of your families? Did you ever think of? Do you think that each one of your family is great or not? Good or not? Huh? Hey, this silence I can't.
Yes, sir.
I can't put up with. Now, each one of you, if your family is, if you don't have self-respect, if you don't have a respect for your mother, father, what work they, somebody's mother, how many, girls and boys, their parents are tillers of land in the village? Agriculturists. Okay, how many of your parents are, let us say, shoemakers or artisans, art makers? How many of you?
Signal problem.
So, okay, no problem. Now my point is, don't you all of you think that your mother while cooking or doing homework, housework or job, is she doing a great job for your life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your mother.
Yeah.
Now how many of you, having educated, thought of writing a good letter to your mother from the university, appreciating her work and life? Did you, how many of you wrote? You wrote? Okay, what did your mother say?
Very happy to get a letter. We can text now.
She is very happy to.
We can text. Right, we can text.
No. Don't go to mobile and text.
No, I wrote a letter and sent it.
Okay. No, my point is, if you don't start writing on your own in your rooms in the library, you can't write well in the examination. This is a very simple logic. If you can't write in MA something, you can't write good examination paper. Now, if the teachers are giving marks, maybe because of your good behavior, not asking questions and not being serious, some teachers like very indifferent students. Because if you are not indifferent, you will ask questions. There is a problem. So, how many of you write within next month? Tell me. Somebody is raising like this, somebody is not raising. Yeah, read, write and fight. Now when I am saying fight, what do you mean to fight? Fight everybody who is nearby you? Or fight your professor in the classroom, go and box him out? What is that I am saying fight? Fight, I am saying, there is an ideological fight. There is a thought fight. There is a systemic fight. So you have to fight mentally both with yourself and with your environment. That is what fight is. So therefore, you have to read along with Ambedkar's Ghulamgiri as a basic text. As I said, you read God as political philosopher to understand ancient. You have to read Mahatma Phule's Slavery, Ghulamgiri. How many of you know this book? Yeah, Ghulamgiri you know. So now you have to, that is also available.
Yes, sir.
So you have to make it a habit to read from page 1 to last page. Sometimes you may not understand. Doesn't matter. Read and note down the words and expand your knowledge. So the present university system does not want you to become intellectuals. You have to become nationalists but not intellectuals. There is a contradiction. Now, in order to break that contradiction, you have to decide to become intellectuals. An intellectual can be a better nationalist than a dull-headed person, than a follower. So that is where Ambedkar, Mahatma Phule, Gautam Buddha, and all modern writers or thinkers are coming to our aid and help. So lot of literature is coming now, lot of books are coming now, lot of verifiable resources are there. Your mobile itself is a library. But you should know how to choose your reading material. You should know how to select your reading material. And you should know how to constantly work with your reading material apart from your textbooks. System gives some idea, some direction, some control. But I'll tell you, no system can control you when you are sitting in the library or when you are sitting in your room and reading what you read. You can read a storybook or a porn book or something nonsense, or you can sleep. Anything you can. But that your individual decision to read the great nation builders of India called Gautam Buddha, then Mahatma Phule, Ambedkar, Periyar, Savitribai, and lastly, how many of you read his last letter? Yeah, that was the great letter of Rohit Vemala, right? The philosophy. You Google about that letter. I have written 2 articles at that, comparing Rohit Vemala with Socrates. How Rohit Vemala, like a Socrates, became a philosopher at an early age and died for the sake of future. So write about the greatness of Rohit Vemala. How he created a new vision in this university, and that vision is likely to spread across the world and in the. Now my last advice is, I have written in this one in my autobiography called From a Shepherd Boy to an Intellect. You can see that on Google. If possible, you buy that and read. I said, at this stage, do not go after your so-called personal love and marriage now. Because this personal love and marriage in a caste society destroys people when they came from Dalit background, from OBC background, from Adivasi background, and others from the other upper caste background. And you remain friends, no doubt. But once you think of an entangled relationship in a caste society, that does not easily work. Caste society is a very, very tough society when it comes to friendships and marriages. So my serious point of view is, India is a country which is in the transition. So you think of, I don't advise arranged caste marriage system for India for future as well. You have to choose your path, but not at the cost of serious study now. Not at the lot of people committed suicide with that. That's a very, very dangerous zone. You have to be very extremely careful and first finish your post graduation. If then work out your line of future. Whether you want to do PhD, whether you want to go into civil service, whether you want to become a professor or thinker or writer. Then once somewhere you settle down, you can think about that. Not that you should not make friendship. You should make friendship. Boys and girls should compulsorily make friendship. Should never be enemies to each other or aloof to each other. But be careful that if that becomes priority of life, then you get destroyed. If it doesn't work, it swallows your life. It completely destroys your future. So to understand that, you read my memoirs, you will see why I give this advice. Because we need thinkers from Dalit, OBC, Adivasi, boys and girls. We need thinkers for future change of this, for future well-being of your parents and generation. Otherwise, this country will be in danger. So I'll stop here. If you have few questions, I'll take very few, but straight, sharp questions. Then we'll wind up. Thank you.
Open the floor for questions now.
Yeah, somebody?
Any questions?
Yeah.
Javin sir, I have two questions, very short questions. One, I am a little confused. Like, let's see, I did research on Northeast. I'm a Northeast, non-Northeastern and non-tribal also. Sorry for that. So the question of endangered language, it's very, very serious question there. So when we and I'm also against the Hindi imposition, what government is doing actually. So, like, what do we do about the endangered language when we make all education in English? What would happen to the languages which are very few speakers are there, and if we don't teach kids in school or somewhere, they will die eventually, and the culture and the knowledge system will die with that language also. And the other question I would just like to add, which is a very personal struggle for me. So the question of decolonization is very different for, let's say, tribal people of Northeast and the Dalit people all across India. So how do we deal with when it comes to the Bahujan movement and idea, the decolonization? How does it work for the tribal people and the Dalit people? Thank you, sir.
Well, first of all, the question of language. I have written quite a lot about it. You can just type in Google my name and on English language education. My simple argument is, assume India, which 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now on, all Indians speak English, like America. What happens to, is it working? Yeah. What happens to the regional languages, the tribal languages, the community languages, and so on? My feeling thing is regional state languages like Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, and so on, they don't die so easy. So the Andhra Pradesh government and Telangana government now, after a long 30 years campaign of ours in this region, adopted a language system where all school subjects will be taught in English, but one compulsory Telugu subject will be there in all schools, from class 1 to 12. So that one compulsory language, the market language will be the same, house language, kitchen language will be Telugu only. When people speak, children particularly, English and Telugu, two languages will survive for long. Now, any language, when it is spoken by very small group of people, that will die. That happens naturally. So my assumption is, let India become English-speaking nation, no doubt, because English has highest scientific vocabulary, knowledge, and it is the upper communities, the castes and classes, have already become English-speaking people and using people. But what about culture? This is a very serious issue. There is a total misunderstanding that culture is language rooted. No. Culture basically is production system rooted. What you produce in that area, what food you eat, what man-woman relations you maintain, what family relations you maintain, what divine system religion you have, that becomes culture, but not culture is related to language. Now I'll give you one example. 99% of Indian Brahmins are English educated today. 99%. Have they become like Americans totally in food? Are they eating beef every day? Or are they praying like American Christian does? No. Their food culture is there. Their own religious culture is there. Their dress culture is there. So language has nothing to do with that. Culture is changed by market, not by language. You know, in my student days, I could not see a girl. I had 12 girls in my class. All girls were in sari and blouse. Nobody could wear a pant. But today, because the market and because the media, pant wearing is common among women now. Nobody can change. So it is the market that changes the culture. These people want that market, global market, but not global advanced English scientific language. I must tell you, if you don't learn serious English, you can't be a serious writer or serious scientist. It's not possible. So culture has nothing to do with language. And about the second question, decolonization. See, the 47 form of decolonization is over. Now, decolonization of mind by anti-production forces is much bigger on us. Those who do not respect dignity of labor have become intellectuals. Those who do not have anything to do with tilling of the land, looking up cattle and grazing animals and so on are posing as if they are intellectuals. That is colonization. The British have gone. So therefore, now decolonization is a process of decolonizing anti-production knowledge from our mind. Dignity of labor. You may be a shoemaker, you may be a pot maker, or next you may be a priest in the temple, or next you can be a professor in the class. This is not there in India. So we have to decolonize India from Brahmanism. That is the crux. Yeah? So if there are no questions, I'll take your leave. I'll come maybe after some time.
Very good evening, Professor, Honorable Professor, and all our
Yeah.
student community members. Before coming, as I
Yeah, speak aloud here.
good evening to all my friends and our Honorable Professor. That we talk about language and linguistic barrier between states and states. But in my opinion, English work as a bane for me, for my family, for my society. Because if I don't know English, how I can survive here? How I can communicate with all of the people who come from the different parts of our country, from different states. So I am simply sharing that please learn English to communicate well to not only the student community, for all the welfare of our country.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, you have one more question?
No, sir, I am just sharing.
Okay, fine.
So, one more thing I want to share to all my friends that use this space which we have now, where we live, because this is the space where we have audience, where we have what we say, students listen, and what we criticize, we all think have space. But in a private institution or outside the boundary of these public institutions, we don't have space. Because I am first generation, so I realize what we get from here, and after going from this public university, what we give to our society for the betterment of the society. Thank you.
Very good, yeah. So you are right. I think my feeling is, I don't know, you just go back to your villages or your own places. You talk to labor. You talk to your mother who is illiterate even. Each person in India today has at least 300 English words. Milk, water, salt, anything in the market, the name is English. They know it. Even in homes, whether Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, anything, they call only milk. Right? So when an illiterate knows 300 words, to speak good English, you need only 1000 words. That's all. So add 700 more. You can be a comfortable communicator. So English is the easiest language. English is most communicable language, and it has only 26 letters. I don't know in Assamese or in any Manipur how many letters are there. In Telugu, we have 56 and very difficult to learn. So learn English, it is easy, and you will become definitely, if you adopt, go and write in your rooms, read, write and fight as a slogan. How many of you will do that? Write on your walls. Now I said when I was student, I wrote this slogan on the back of my mind. I came from totally illiterate family, Telugu medium family, and my caste was treated as absolutely no knowledgeable caste. My caste is treated as sheep caste. We were like sheep, innocent. When I first became a lecturer, one upper caste person asked me, "You became a lecturer, Ilaiah?" I said, "Yes." "What do you do?" He said, "I'll teach." "In what language?" he said. He was asking very, yeah, Manikant, I am still here. So he was asking in very bad English, conductor English. I said, "I'll speak in English only, teach in English." "What is your problem?" No, 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 no. Very bad days have come. He looked at my face. I'm short like this. I'm not very handsome. Then he thought, I told him one thing. Look, I know how to teach sheep. When I could teach sheep, it is not difficult to teach your children. And then within few months, I became one of the popular lecturers in the university. And that fellow, whenever he used to see me, he used to run away. So it's not difficult. Learn everything. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. You are engaging, entertaining, and as well as illuminating. Before you leave, I request you to receive a token of appreciation from our President Sabri, our General Secretaries Mamta, Daya, and Pranay.
Jai Bhim Nil Salam. Jai Bhim Nil Salam.
This was an art that was made in the Silver Jubilee year of ASA. Now it has entered the 30th year also.
Zindabad, Zindabad. ASA Zindabad. Zindabad, Zindabad. Johar, Rohit Vemula. Johar, Johar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Johar, Johar.
Thank you all then. Okay, I'll make a move.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us and for the talk. I thank all of you for having joined us today. Thank you.